Finding all this knowledge has been the biggest gift in my life, and I want that for you. Recently posted on Lemon 8 about my wellness journey, my fitness journey, and how I lost 25 pounds while traveling the world, while being a digital nomad, and have managed to keep that weight off for 3 years, have managed to become my healthiest, happiest, strongest self. And that post blew up because this one unlock changed the game for me, and I want to share that with you. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Alex. I'm a digital nomad, and I spent my time between here in LA, Italy, Mexico, and other amazing parts of the world. And I love posting lifestyle, thrifting, fashion, and travel content on this channel. So if that sounds interesting to you, please hit the subscribe button down below. It really helps my channel out, and it helps me bring more videos to you all each and every week. I created this post about how I lost 25 pounds with one diet change. It was really more about how I finally achieved this healthy, not just physical body, but state of mind via one really simple concept that unlocked it for me. Because if you've been on a similar journey that I have, I've struggled with my weight and body image for a long time, since being a teenager. And I felt like I was healthy. I did sports. I was, active. I thought I would be uncomfortable in my skin forever. I'm here to say that I finally cracked the code. It's been 3 years of being on a full wellness journey, body, mind, spirit, and it really started with the body though. I have to say, it started with the body. During the pandemic, probably in June of 2020, I said, okay, I'm gonna tackle 2 key parts of my life: my fitness and my eating habits. I had really struggled with eating habits in the sense that I knew I was overeating constantly. I truly always thought a calorie deficit was just unattainable for me. I just felt like I had not a good relationship with food, and I wanted to get a handle on that. And I personally decided to do that via the app Noom. I know that there are certain parts of Noom that people don't like, especially people in the disordered eating community. There's a dog. I didn't notice that dog. Yeah, there's certain parts of the program that we don't need to get into today. This is a Noom review. It's really about how I finally got a handle on resources that could help me heal my relationship to food. Early on in the program, they introduced this concept of calorie density. Think of a cup of grapes versus a cup of raisins. And the reason this really unlocked something for me is that in learning about calorie density, you learn about the fact that the human body doesn't actually care about calories. It's a social construct that scientists made up to measure the energy in something. What your body does respond to is weight and volume. And so calorie density is measuring the number of calories in a certain volume of food. When you eat a high volume of food and a high weight, your body responds to that weight in your stomach, and you start to feel full, and you start to feel satiated, and you start to feel like, okay, I'm gonna get to a point where I don't need more food. And this was the crazy unlock for me. When I started viewing my food through calorie density and really focused on eating foods that were low calorie dense and eating high volumes of them, the pounds just started melting away. Now, like I said, this was initially a little bit tough for me to wrap my head around. Noom has a red, yellow, green color coding system for foods that helps you at a glance understand what foods have low calorie density versus high calorie density. And that was huge, but let me break it down for you. Let me break it down how I started thinking about food, how you retrain your body and your mind to think about calorie density and really start to feel satiated with your meals. So number one, you want to eat more water. And yes, I said eat, not drink. When you think about eating more water, you're gonna default to the fresh form of all of your foods, right? So instead of dried fruits and vegetables, you're going for fresh. Instead of frozen, you're going for fresh. You always want to opt for the freshest, most natural version, because that version of the food has retained the most water possible. And water has a very low calorie density. So just by making that one small switch, you're gonna be making really great swaps and choices in your meals. The second thing is fibers and grains. The reason I absolutely loved eating this way is that I could still enjoy breads and pastas and rice and all of these things that bring me a lot of joy in life, right? This is not a restrictive diet. I'm not advocating for any sort of restrictive eating. When you look at the calorie density of things like whole grains, so whole grain breads, whole grain pastas, brown rice, oats, buckwheat, have a pretty good low calorie density. By simply switching to things like brown rice instead of white rice, incorporating really well-made whole grain breads, eating things like oatmeal over cereal. These are swaps that are going to really help you feel full. The third one, and this was a huge one for me, the third one was fats. Don't do what I did, which is essentially just be like, oh my gosh, fats are high, have a high calorie density, I'm cutting out all fats, because that wreaked havoc on my body in other ways. Fats are incredibly important for a lot of bodily functions, especially for women, especially for women's hormones. If you just cut out fats completely, your body is going to go completely out of whack. You're going to have a lot of really unpleasant side effects. So please, I'm not advocating for that in any way, shape, or form. What I did take a real hard look at and I cut out almost completely were oils, cooking oils, sauces, anything that was adding oil and adding, in my opinion, unnecessary calories to a meal. So I was still eating my avocados and my seeds. I'm really, really into seeds. Seed cycling has changed my life, like completely. I've completely healed my PMS. I have no PMS after implementing seed cycling in my life. Figuring out ways to cook without oil. High Carb Hannah on YouTube has a ton of resources about this on her channel, teaching you how to cook without oil. Listen, I'm in a relationship with an Italian. When I told him I didn't want to cook with oil anymore, he was really questioning our relationship, okay? So if I can do it, you can do it. Cutting back on oils, game changer. And then the fourth group is sugars. Cutting back on the amount of sugars that you're eating. Now, this wasn't a big shift for me. I had already been trying to eat pretty low refined sugar prior to making these changes. The biggest things for me that helped were, number one, using alternative natural sweeteners like stevia and monk fruit. I absolutely love stevia and monk fruit. I use them all the time, every day, basically. And if you're the kind of person who doesn't like them, if you think they have a bad aftertaste, try doing a 50-50 blend. Like, my favorite thing in the world is maple syrup. I think it's so delicious, and no maple syrup substitute holds a candle to the original. The real deal is just incredible. So when I'm really wanting maple syrup, I will do a 50-50 blend, and I'll use a little bit of stevia or a little bit of monk fruit to sweeten my dish, and then I'll drizzle on a little bit of maple syrup to just give that maple flavor. When I started this journey with my food, my rule of thumb was to just stick to the green foods as much as humanly possible. In the beginning, I didn't do any sort of calorie counting or macro counting. I just tried to eat intuitively. I would eat when I was hungry, and if there were times where, I felt like, I'm snacking, and feeling peckish, I would let myself eat, but it had to be a food on the green list. Mostly vegetables, fruits, whole grains, lean proteins, etc. So I let myself eat, but I was conscious of those choices. And I found myself just naturally eating meals that were a lot less calorie dense. I found myself more often getting into that calorie deficit, which I truly always thought a calorie deficit was just unattainable for me. Like, it never felt possible. And this was the thing that changed that. Now you're probably wondering, Alex, do you still eat this way? And the answer is yes and no. I'm not trying to lose weight anymore. I'm not. Therefore, I've loosened up for sure. Generally speaking, I will pay attention to calorie density and eat low calorie dense meals Monday through Friday, but I always let myself enjoy myself at least twice a week. That's just a really sustainable model for me. I let myself, eat whatever I want on the weekends. I let myself have that full serving of maple syrup. I let myself have the butter on my pancakes. I'm not here to, restrict or not live my life. And that has been a really helpful framework. Like I said, I've been traveling all over the world. I was living in Italy for 6 months at one point, and enjoying all the pizza, all the pasta, all the gelato. Living in Mexico, eating tacos, tortas, eating everything, all the delicious treats and dishes that Latin America has to offer. Just doing that, the 5 days on, 2 days off, has been an incredible lifestyle shift for me. Yes, fitness was part of this journey as well. That's a whole separate video. I do have to say though, for me, fat loss comes from diet. Fat loss really came from diet. Fitness was there to help me sculpt and shape my body in the way that I wanted to, but the weight loss and the fat loss came from diet, and that is why calorie density was an absolute game changer. If you have questions about my journey, please leave them in the comments down below. I have so much to share. I'm going to be doing follow-ups to this about healing my hormones, curing all my PMS, all of my fitness routines, which has really not only transformed my body, but also just transformed me mentally as well. Finding all this knowledge has been the biggest gift in my life, and I want that for you. I want you to feel happy and healthy and like the best version of yourself. So thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful in any way, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button, which helps me bring more videos to you all each and every week. I post new videos every single week, so until next time, bye.